of Matthew 17, he says, "And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, Doth not your master pay tribute? And he said, Yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What do you think, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? Peter says unto him, Of strangers. Jesus says unto him, Then are the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, you go to the sea and cast a hook and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when you have opened his mouth, you shall find a piece of money. That take and give unto them for me and you." I mean, we're talking about the same principle here. We're talking about this same principle here, unless we offend them, you know. So, I mean, we need to, because as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 6:12 and 1 Corinthians 10:23, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not profitable. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under authority by any. And then in 10:23 he says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are profitable for me, but all things do not build me up or work together for my good to bring me into maturity. Because, I mean, we need to understand our walk is one of faith, and people aren't walking by faith today. You know, it's not even being taught in any of these buildings that they're calling a church. And I refuse to call the Assemblies of God a church, because the Greek word means an assembly of believers. It doesn't have anything to do with a building, because back then when they would go through the synagogues and preach Christ, you know, it came to a point where Paul was going to other places to preach the gospel, because they got to where they wouldn't even allow him in the synagogues. You know, you can read that in the book of Acts. And you know, they had houses. You know, there'd be the believers at the house of so and so, or the believers at the house of, you know, where two or more, Jesus said, where two or more are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst. You know, and yet they, you know, ungodly men have used scripture that, you know, forsake not the assembling of ourselves, you know, and they stand behind a pulpit and they don't even preach the gospel that was once delivered to us by Jesus and then his disciples, and then by those who loved not their life unto the death. You know, so we need to stand on that foundation and reestablish the faith once delivered to us, because whatsoever is not of faith is sin. Whatsoever is not of faith, and we need to get that. And I'm gonna end this one here. God willing, He'll give me more wisdom to put this into words, because, you know, believers need this. Believers need this.